Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. Today's topic of our video is very interesting as you all read it through the title of the video. The chances of a US debt default are currently estimated to be between 25% and 30%. This is up from around 10% just a few weeks ago. The increase in the chances of default is due to a number of factors, including the ongoing negotiations between the White House and Congress over the debt ceiling, the weak economy, which is leading to lower tax revenues, the war in Ukraine, which is increasing government spending. If the US does default on its debt, it would have a number of negative consequences, including a sharp increase in interest rates, which would make it more expensive for businesses to borrow money and invest, a decline in the stock market, which would reduce household wealth, a recession, which would lead to job losses and higher unemployment. There are a number of ways that the US can avoid a debt default. The most obvious is for Congress to raise or suspend the debt ceiling. However, this is proving to be difficult, as Republicans and Democrats are at an impasse over the issue. Another way to avoid a default is for the Treasury Department to take extraordinary measures, such as delaying payments to government contractors or using its cash reserves to make payments. However, these measures would only be a temporary solution, and they would likely lead to a downgrade of the US credit rating. The best way to avoid a debt default is for Congress to reach a compromise and raise or suspend the debt ceiling. If they do not, the US will likely default on its debt, which would have a number of negative consequences for the economy. Here are some additional details about the debt ceiling and the potential consequences of a default. The debt ceiling is a legal limit on the amount of money that the US government is allowed to borrow. The debt ceiling has been raised or suspended 78 times since 1960. A default on US debt would be the first time since 1979 that the US has failed to make a payment on its debt. A default would likely lead to a downgrade of the US credit rating, which would make it more expensive for the US to borrow money in the future. A default could also lead to a recession, as businesses and consumers would become more cautious about spending money. The stakes are high in the negotiations over the debt ceiling. If Congress does not act, the US could default on its debt, which would have a number of negative consequences for the economy. What do you think? Please share your thoughts with us in comments.